I'm Cami, and this is Cami's Closet. If you're new to my channel, thank you for coming. I appreciate it. If you're not new to my channel, you know that I usually do videos on handbags, luxury goods, what's ever in my closet, whatever I have that's interesting that I want to share. Those are the types of videos that I normally do, luxury videos. I probably said that already. I'm going to get right into this. I did a birthday haul that was part one last weekend. And then I said I was waiting to do part two because I had ordered a few things. Part two got interrupted because I lost somebody extremely, extremely close to me. My Uncle Stephen. His funeral was Friday, and I wasn't able to attend in person because he lived in Florida. So me, my husband, and my boys were there through FaceTime on my sister-in-law's phone. She was kind enough to let it roll the entire service in the chapel and at the graveside. And I didn't get a chance to go up and say any words about him because I wasn't there. So I'm doing that now. It's I have a lot of items here ready to unhaul. Ready to unbox for my birthday. But that's not important. Those things are not important. Not even close to important what's in these boxes. So I'll get to that, maybe next week or down, in a few days. But right now, I wanted to pay tribute to my Uncle Stephen, who I'm going to miss every day for the rest of my life. He was my mentor. He was my confidant. He was my therapist. He literally was the reason I finished school. He's the reason I stayed thin. I know that sounds silly, but you don't know my uncle. My uncle was a very vain man. Just a quick backstory. He was only 71, and he was buried Friday on his 72nd birthday. He was dealing with a blood disorder for many, many years, like 25, 30 years, but it never affected him. He was okay. The doctors just monitored it and said, maybe one day down the road it might affect you. Well, to make a very long story short, about a year ago he started to present symptoms, and they still weren't sure exactly what it was, but it seemed to be some type of chronic leukemia. And they were monitoring it. He was fine a year ago. He was standing on his ladder, polishing the 200 plus crystals on his chandelier. He was a young 71, and he had so much more life in him. And his partner, Steve, who I love with every ounce of my being, has to spend the rest of his life without him, without my uncle. They were together 50 years. 50 years. Not too many people can match or top that. 50 years they were together. My heart bleeds for him. And there are no words to express the loss that our family has had. I will say, if you know me, I lost my mom 3 years ago, and 5 months later, I lost my aunt, my mom's sister. And now, not even 3 years later, my uncle. This is a picture of the three of them when they were together about 5 years ago, I think it was. Now they're together again. It's my mom in the blue, my Aunt Sherry in the red shirt, and my Uncle Stephen. They're up there together again, which I'm not happy about. I lost track, and I'm sorry. If you know me, I don't edit. I don't know how to do anything on the computer. I'm very amateur, and my videos are just, they're done and then they're uploaded. So this is as candid as it's going to get. So as I was saying, he was everything to me. After I danced with my father at my wedding, he was my second dance. And I danced to the song "The Wind Beneath My Wings" by Bette Midler. Because I really believe that he was a lot of the reason that I became who I am. He believed in me. He said he made me believe that I was a good mom, a good person, a successful person. He never had, I'm not going to say he never had anything negative to say, because he was a straight shooter. He said what he wanted to say, especially to me. The conversations that we had, he would tell me like it is, and it was always from his heart, from love, not anything else. He was my biggest cheerleader my entire life. I'm not saying my mom wasn't, because my mom and I had a fabulous relationship. I had a great relationship with my aunt. I missed him terribly. But my uncle was like really like my a backbone for me. There wasn't before I worked, I spoke to him every single day. Every day for years, and then I went back to work, so it was hard to speak to him. And when he and his partner retired and they went to Florida 15 years ago, I was crushed. I knew I wasn't going to see him as much as I wanted to. But thanks to modern technology, I FaceTimed with him all the time. I just FaceTimed with him last week before he went into the hospital. He went to get a haircut because he told me, "I'm going into the hospital Monday. I can't look like crap. I look like Einstein. I had to get a haircut." He made his partner Stevie drag him to get a haircut. He always had to look great. He always had to look good. That was just him. So this is what I would have said if I was standing up at the podium at his funeral. And I didn't get to, so I'm doing it now. If you're, a subscriber and, you watch this, I appreciate it. If you're new and you watched it, or maybe I'm just helping someone else get through a horrible, horrible tragedy, we're all not alone. We all lose people we love, and we have no choice but to go on. We have no choice. We have no choice. Nothing we can do about it. And he would say to me, if he could say something to me right this second, he would say, "Oh, get a grip. You're being ridiculous." And then he would probably say, "You're not wearing enough makeup. You need a little more blush. You look washed out on the camera." He liked watching my videos. He said, "I watched all of them." I said, "You watched all of them?" He said, "Yeah, I like watching my pretty niece on my telephone." My biggest cheerleader. I don't know what to say. I know I could have written something and I could have went on for days about how I love this man and the bond that we had. But I'm not, because I don't want to go on and on. This picture that I showed on my thumbnail was a picture when he came to see my mom before she passed. I believe this would have been, they came to see her, surprised her for her 75th birthday. I made a party for her. And this is him with my boys and me. My husband's cut out. I won't show my husband's face online, so just, whatever. But this is a picture of my son, my two sons, and me and my uncle. And this picture is many years ago at my older son's bar mitzvah. My son is now 23, and this was taken, they came in for all occasions from Florida, but they took the train because they didn't like to fly. My uncle was afraid to fly, and that was the one reason I didn't go to the funeral in Florida, because I have a paralyzing fear of flying. I know he would understand. If nobody else does, I don't care. He would understand. This was another picture of him and his partner, Steve, my other uncle, at my oldest son's bar mitzvah, which was 10 years ago. You have to have friends. It's the only way you're going to get through anything like this. My girlfriend Lisa left a breakfast basket on my stoop yesterday with orange juice from Trader Joe's, lox, bagels, cream cheese, butter, napkins, plates, cups, and a beautiful little bouquet of flowers. You don't get through something like this without friends. So, in conclusion, now that I discussed one of the most important people in my life that I just lost, I want to show you my jewelry of the day. If you know me and you've seen my channel, I do jewelry of the day. This is more special than any other jewelry I will ever have in my life. My uncle, well, my uncles, I consider them my uncles. They've been together. Their names are, my uncle was Uncle Stephen. His partner was Steve. We all called him Little Steve. He didn't like it, but because he was smaller, he was shorter. My uncle was like 6 feet, and Little Steve is about 5'7", I think. But that's how we kind of differentiated when we were little. We called them Uncle Stephen and Little Stephen, but they're both my uncles. And Little Steve, who I've been talking to countless times since my uncle got sick, I just want to say, if you get to watch this, that I love you more than you know. And there was never a day in my life since I'm 4 that I thought of you any less than my uncle. And I'm here for you. And I don't know if you know how to do YouTube, because I know you're not that savvy, but I'll show you one day, so maybe you could watch this and it'll make you feel good. In any case, they bought me this on my 40th birthday. It's my birthstone. I'm going to move you closer. It's my birthstone, August. It's peridot. And I'll always say I can't stand my birthstone. It's the ugliest color. It's the ugliest birthstone. But I will treasure this and I will wear it. And it's just beautiful. I don't know if you can see it. Beautiful. And one other thing, besides my regular studs and my watch and my wedding set, all that diamond stud, wedding, wedding is important, of course, but I'm just saying handbags, luxury jewelry, it's meaningless. It's meaningless if you don't have people that you love and good health and longevity. It's all meaningless. So I want to show you this bracelet. that my uncle sent me. He couldn't come in for my 50th birthday. He's been holding this since my grandmother died. I had no idea. This 30 years ago. She had this. My grandfather gave it to her. I think it was, I'm looking at the picture. This is the picture of my grandmother and grandfather. I'm trying not to make a glare. I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but she's wearing, I don't know. If you'd see right there, she's wearing a bracelet. Probably very hard to see. Those are my grandparents. I lost my grandmother about 30 years ago, and I lost my grandfather about 35 or 37 years ago. I lived with them and my mother in a two-family house, and my brother from the time I was 5, so they were extremely important to me. This is the bracelet that's on her wrist in that picture. It's yellow gold and rose gold, 14 karat, and rubies in each flower. Obviously it's an antique because my grandfather gave it to my grandmother. They were first married. I don't even know if she had, I don't think she had my mom yet in that picture. I'm not even sure if they were married yet. I'm not going to be able to ask my uncle. That was another thing about my uncle. He was knowledgeable about everything. How do you get rid of moths in your vacuum? How do you clean your chandelier? What does the Kabbalah teach? What candles do you light for the dead? What prayers do you say on Passover? How do you lease a car? How do you polish furniture? How do you play the piano? My uncle played the piano like Beethoven, and he's been playing the piano on the same piano that my grandparents bought him 50 years ago. That's how long he's had the piano, and he just refurbished it about 2 or 3 years ago, he told me. And he played the piano like Beethoven. Amazing, amazing. So this bracelet, most important piece of jewelry, this necklace, and I have a few other pieces from my mom and my grandmother. None of them say Louis Vuitton, none of them say Christian Dior, none of them say Chanel. And you know what? They're far more valuable than any designer piece of jewelry that anyone could have. So I don't expect you to enjoy this video. I'm not going to say if you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up. I needed to do this. I needed to talk about my uncle. I needed to do that. I didn't get a chance to do it at his funeral Friday. This is the first time I put makeup on since he went into the hospital, I believe last Saturday. I know he'd be angry with me about that because he was a very logical person, and he said, you have to move on. You have no choice. You have to live. Dying is part of life, but I don't want to accept that right now. So anyway, thank you. And thank you to all my YouTube friends that I've made over the last 6 months, because the last 5 days I've been watching all of your videos because it's been keeping my mind occupied. I've been just watching videos and commenting, and if I didn't do that, I would just be staring at a wall crying all day. So I've been watching, and I appreciate all your videos, and I appreciate your friendships, even if they're from afar. And I will get to that birthday haul when I'm feeling like I want to enjoy something different. I'll do my unboxings. I have a lot of things that I have sitting in the boxes that I received this past week, and I'll get to it. I'll get to it probably by the end of this week, maybe. I'm on vacation again. I took this whole past week off, and I'm on vacation all this coming week, just coincidentally. So I will do my birthday haul part 2 eventually when I'm feeling a little bit better. Thanks again for coming. Thanks for listening to me. Bye.